Have you ever woken up one morning, opened your eyes, and realized you're utterly, painfully alone? You might expect spiritual awakening to feel like a party, like finally stepping out of the fog and breathing in crisp, clear air. But instead, something strange happens. The world you knew starts to feel foreign. Conversations you once found comforting now feel hollow. Smiles look practiced, laughter sounds scripted, and you sit there nodding along while your insides twist into knots. This isn't burnout, and it isn't misanthropy. It's your persona cracking, revealing that there's something deeper inside you that's been itching to break free. And stay with me, because before the end of this video, I'm going to share a simple 5-step nightly ritual that reconnects you to real, authentic human bonds, and it starts tonight. From the moment you began to question everything, your beliefs, your routines, even the way you breathe, you initiated a transformation that has surprising costs. You'll learn why casual small talk now feels like sandpaper on your soul, why a crowded room can feel claustrophobic, and how your nervous system is secretly set to overdrive. But first, let's talk about the persona, that invisible mask we all wear. We put on the persona to survive, to belong, to feel safe. At work, the persona makes you efficient. Around family, it keeps you pleasant. With friends, it makes you funny, agreeable, safe. For most of your life, this mask did its job impeccably. But as you awaken, you start to sense something behind your own facade. There's a whisper in your mind saying, "This isn't all there is." You begin to ask uncomfortable questions. Why do I always laugh here? Why do I feel drained after this conversation? Why does nodding along feel like lying to myself? And so, you gather the courage to respond differently. You stop forcing your smile a few seconds sooner. You catch yourself before reflexively agreeing to plans you don't want. You find yourself searching for depth, meaningful exchanges that probe beneath the surface. But the more you insist on authenticity, the weirder things get. People you once clicked with seem to slip away. Invitations stop coming. Messages go unanswered. And suddenly, you question everything. Did I do something wrong? Am I neglecting my relationships? Or is something else at play? Here's the truth. And pay attention because it sets the stage for everything to come. Spiritual awakening is both psychological and physiological. Let's unravel the psychological side first. Carl Jung called the process individuation, the unfolding of your unique self, the emergence of your unconscious made conscious. As your unconscious brightens under the light of awareness, it shows you both your light and your shadow. The shadow is not evil. It's simply the parts of yourself you've pushed down to fit in. Anger, jealousy, fear, but also your brilliance, your intuitive flashes, your deepest knowing. When your shadow starts to surface, it collides with the persona you once relied upon. Imagine driving an old car and suddenly swapping the engine overnight. The body may still look the same, but the performance, the vibrations, the sound, it all changes. You feel every bump in the road. That's awakening. You still have the old wiring, and now you've got this new level of sensitivity. So you sense things you never noticed before. The tiny micro expressions when someone lies, the subtle shift in tone when a friend is annoyed, the unspoken tension when family members avoid a crucial topic. Micro hook for you. Mastering this sensitivity is key to never again feeling foreign in your own life. But because your nervous system has been conditioned to filter out much of this background noise, it hasn't yet caught up with your consciousness. your body still scans for threats the old way. Threat equals difference, difference equals danger. In a crowded room, your system goes into alert mode. Adrenaline spikes, cortisol floods, and you find yourself craving escape. It's not that you hate people. It's that your body interprets every unspoken tension as a predator circling, and it wants you to flee. Halfway reminder, you're not broken. You're simply no longer numb. Embrace that. Let's get concrete. Last week I was at a dinner party, just like any other. I walked in, greeted everyone with a smile, and immediately felt the familiar pull. Small talk about the weather, the latest TV show, surface-level chatter. But beneath those words, I sensed an undercurrent of anxiety. Someone was worried about a work deadline. Another person was masking jealousy about a recent promotion, and another was trying to prove their worth. I could feel each of these vibrations in my chest, raw and unfiltered. My old habit would have been to play along, assure them, laugh with them, diffuse tension. But now, my soul screamed for authenticity. Speak the truth. So I asked a simple question. How are you really? The air shifted. Some guests looked relieved to be asked, others uncomfortable because they weren't ready. I left early, drained but oddly exhilarated. You see, awakening doesn't just rewire your mind, it rewires your body. You learn that anxiety and excitement use the same pathways. You become an empath or a highly sensitive person by default. You're a sponge for energy, and that sponge starts to overflow. Micro hook number 2. Once you understand your nervous system upgrade, you'll know exactly how to regulate it instead of shutting down. Which brings us to the restorative side of awakening, shadow integration. This is the point where many awakened souls stumble. They drift into isolation, thinking solitude equals safety. And yes, in the beginning, stepping away from draining connections can feel like relief. It's your field clearing itself, making space for your newfound energy. But prolonged isolation can breed its own shadows, guilt, fear, and a sense of aloneness that cuts to the bone. Here's where your nightly ritual comes in. The 5-step practice that will allow you to mourn what's lost, honor what's unfolding, and slowly rebuild bridges with your own soul and with others from a place of authenticity. I'll share it in just a bit, so stay tuned. But for now, understand that your shadow isn't something to banish. It's part of your wholeness. It's the raw ore that, when refined, becomes your personal gold. Pattern interrupt. This isn't spiritual mumbo-jumbo. This is neuroscience and psychology in action. You might ask, what about my old friendships? Will they survive? Some will. The relationships built on shared masks will likely fade. That's intentional. It makes room for connections that resonate with your true frequency. Imagine tuning an old radio. You turn the dial. Static gives way to a clear station. The old static, those surface-level bonds, fall away, and suddenly you're in perfect harmony with a small circle that truly understands you. Let me tell you about Mia, a viewer who wrote in last month. She said, "After awakening, I felt like an alien among humans. My college friends ignored my calls. My family labeled me weird. I spent weeks in my apartment, convinced I was unlovable." Then she tried the nightly ritual I'm about to share. And 6 months later, she reported 3 new friendships, people who met her at her real frequency. One is an artist who creates in silence. Another is a therapist who listens with presence. And the third is a spiritual teacher who speaks her language. Mia said, "Now I feel seen." That's integration at work. Progress reminder. When you practice these steps, you'll notice your energy field shifting, less static, more signal. Okay, here's a quick preview of those 5 steps. Details coming in a moment. Centering breath work to calm your nervous system. Shadow journaling to honor what emerges. Compassion, ritual to heal old wounds. Energy boundary setting to protect your field. Gratitude integration to anchor your new self. But before we dive into that, let's talk about spiritual ego, the sneaky shadow of awakening. It's easy to fall into, I'm awakened and you're not, thinking, which is just another persona. Real growth isn't about feeling superior. It's about developing compassion for yourself, for others, and for the younger you who needed that persona to survive. When you integrate your shadow, you stop seeing others as threats or dull masks. You start to see them as mirrors. Each irritation, each trigger, pointing you back to an unhealed part of yourself. Now, breathe with me for a moment. Inhale and exhale. Imagine your entire nervous system settling, like water in a glass finally stilling. This is possible. It's not wishful thinking. It's a physiological reality. Your body wants coherence. Your consciousness is demanding it. And you are the bridge between them. Pattern interrupt number 2. If at any point you felt overwhelmed, pause this video, take 4 deep breaths, then come back. You're in control. Okay, it's time for the ritual. Here's how you'll practice it tonight, step by step. First, find a quiet space. Sit comfortably, feet on the ground. Close your eyes and begin centering breath work. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Repeat until your heart rate slows. Second, open your journal. Write down any emotions or images that surfaced today. No filter. This is your shadow speaking. Label each entry with compassion. I see you, fear. I feel you, anger. I welcome you, doubt. Third, place a hand on your heart and whisper an affirmation. I forgive you, younger me. Feel compassion flood into the areas that ache. Fourth, draw an imaginary circle around yourself. Visualize it glowing like warm light. This is your boundary. You choose who enters. If external energy feels heavy, imagine the boundary, repelling it gently. Fifth, end with gratitude. Write one thing you're grateful for. Something small, like the taste of tea or the sound of rain. This anchors your emerging self in joy. After a week of this practice, you'll notice your rest deepens, your dreams clarify, and gentle shifts in your relationships begin. You won't need to dodge social gatherings because you'll enter with intentionality, grounded in your authenticity. As you integrate these steps, you'll see new people gravitating toward you. They'll match your energy, not drain it. Conversations will feel nourishing again, like water to parched roots. And you'll remember, awakening isn't a one-time event. It's a lifelong dance between your light and your shadow. Final future tease. In the next video, we'll explore how to sustain this integration under pressure, how to stay centered when life throws curveballs, deadlines loom, and unexpected conflicts arise. But right now, I want to hear from you. What was your most challenging moment during awakening? If you found resonance here, share this with someone who's feeling the same fatigue. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications for fractal wisdom. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, every crack in your persona is a doorway to your deeper self. And on the other side, genuine connection awaits.